I'm going to take this opportunity to introduce Jeffrey. Jeffrey and I have actually already spoken in the past. He's presented to our company, and I think what we're going to see from Jeffrey here about uMarketingSolutions is a really another great use case for best of breed and how to extend the MarTech stack from Umbraco out. So, Jeffrey, I'll send it over to you.
Thank you, sir, and thanks for having me at the US Fest. Glad to have this up and running and seeing people again. I'm going to talk about the uMarketingSuite indeed, and we're going to have the tech version. So quite some tech, hopefully in it. Hopefully a lot of developers are here that want to bring their Umbraco website to the next level. My name is Jeffrey Schoemaker. I'm the owner of Perplex Digital, a Dutch Umbraco Gold partner, and I co-founded the uMarketingSuite. And I'm really proud that I've been nominated 4 times an Umbraco MVP in the last 4 years. As you may hear, I'm not from the US. We're on the other side of the ocean, around here in Europe. Here we have Umbraco HQ, and we're based in the Netherlands. And if I look out of the window, I can see Umbraco HQ almost. So then you know where we're sitting. And this is the slide we're proudest of. We won quite some Umbraco awards in the last couple of years. And we've gathered all that knowledge to put that together in the uMarketingSuite. And that is what I'm going to present you. I'm not going into too much detail about the uMarketingSuite because I have a lot of videos out there and you can already start playing. We're really going to look into the technical architecture and how you can bring your Umbraco website really to a next level. And to start with a short introduction, this is a slide that I used in my Code Garden session in 2019, CMS pyramid, where we have the enterprise CMSs on top. Only a few websites out there on the web, but really enterprise worthy, like and mostly based on Sitecore or Episerver, Kentico perhaps. On the bottom we have WordPress, lots of websites, but mostly personal websites, and Umbraco is a bit stuck in the middle. And in my opinion, Umbraco could and should move up to enterprise CMS. And with the uMarketingSuite, we want to create a toolbox for marketers with out-of-the-box functionality to get up that enterprise CMS, CMS pyramid. So we're going to talk uMarketingSuite. Right now, we have in the MarketingSuite digital analytics, A/B testing, personalization, and 360-degree profiling of your visitors. And if you install it, you will get access to a new section in Umbraco called marketing. And then we have analytics, A/B testing, personalization, etc. I think it looks really slick. We're doing the best to get as close to Umbraco as possible with our visualization. A/B testing looks like this, where you can set up different variants of your website, web page or website, different content, different pages, different views, and you can have these variants running all together. And with an A/B test, we can track the goals and see which variant is performing best. And with personalization, we've introduced implicit personalization out of the box into Umbraco, based on personas, customer journeys, etc. But as I said, it will not be an introduction or talk. It will be more in-depth. So I'm really quick on this one. And the coolest part, in my opinion, is the split view editing, where we have on the left the original, and on the right side, we can have an alternative variant of the page. The uMarketingSuite is handling all the complex stuff to get the right variant served to the right visitor, but it's really easy to use for an editor, and it's all based in Umbraco. That was a super short introduction, but they only gave me 30 minutes and I have 90 slides for 45 minutes, so I'm speeding it up. If you look to the technical architecture, we have Umbraco, the Umbraco CMS as the foundation, as the layer. On top of the Umbraco CMS, you build your own website. And on top of your website, you can place the uMarketingSuite. It's really something that you put on top of your website. where we have data analytics as the foundation. And based on the data analytics layer, we have A/B testing, personalization, and profiles built. And on top of that, we can do marketing automation, where we put all that knowledge and all these other layers into use in marketing automation. If we first look at the data analytics layer, it's interesting to see that all data is recorded server side. So we're recording it all on the server by default. When did somebody visit which page, on which time, where did they came from, what was their IP address, stuff like that. But we're also capturing client-side data for behavioral data. How deep did people scroll? How long were they engaged on the page? Video views they did, searches they did, clicks to other websites, etc. All out of the box, no coding required. And GDPR is an EU thing, but probably you have regulation as well. And the cool thing is that we're compliant because you own the data and all the data is stored in the database you specify. It's not a SaaS solution where we have the access to all your data. No, it's all stored in your own database because we've been using privacy by design patterns, only using first-party cookies, and all the data is stored in your own website. And the cool thing, it's also ad blocker resistant. So we track almost all traffic or all traffic. And the analytics part looks like this, and we have all these graphs, date ranges, date comparisons, grouping, etc. And if you look to the data, how it's collected, it goes through a flow: collection, storage, processing, and reporting. And if we look to the first step, the data collection, if a visitor on his laptop browses through the internet and comes to the web server, we collect that page view in memory. That's the first step. We collect in memory who was the visitor, distribute a cookie to him or her, which page did they visit, etc. We're doing that via server-side tracking. So an HTTP module intercepts, places the request in memory, but we also have client-side tracking. If you include this JavaScript file, we automatically capture the scroll depth, the total time on page, engaged time on page, clicks to different domains or PDFs, mail to links, etc. And in one of the next sprints, we're also going to capture form errors, form submissions, integration with Umbraco forms, and also video plays, etc. All capturing it without you to write any code, because we did the hard work and now you can do the fun stuff. Server-side tracking, client-side tracking, and if you want to bring it to a next level, you can do custom tracking as well. For example, this is our homepage, and if we want to track the slideshow, when people click on these buttons, for example, we can send that over to the uMarketingSuite. We're using the same function as Google Analytics, for example, where you have event, category name, action, and label. And we have it all documented. And if you send data like this, you get the graphs out of the box for free in the uMarketingSuite. For example, here we see the different slides in our slideshow where we clicked them. This collection, storing it all in memory. Then it's about storage, because we're going to flush the data from memory to database in bulk. So it's faster. And we're going to store it in raw tables, as we call them. And you can recognize these tables because they're prefixed with uMarketingSuite. All our tables are prefixed. We're going to store the raw data and process it later. So we're flushing it from memory to database in a raw table. And we have 3 raw tables: raw page view, raw client-side data, and raw custom page view data. This looks something like this, and I split it up because it was a really long record, but these are the different columns for one record, storing all this data in the database. Not super efficient, but super fast, because at a later time we can process it. And you can decide whether you're processing it directly or at a later moment or with some kind of interval. Depends a bit on your server setup and the load on your web server. Because if you want to have it instant, it requires some more CPU power because it's directly processing. But the advantage is that you have instant personalization. Directly in your page view, you can show different content, different views, stuff like that. You can also do it at a later moment. For example, if your website is really busy or you want a bit faster response, but then you have delayed personalization. The data processing picks up the raw data records from the 3 tables and processes it to different tables. And this is an overview of the database scheme where we're storing it in. We're storing it more efficiently. And the most important tables are visitor, goal, page view, and session. And we're relating all these together and all the other data as well. In the raw data tables, you will see which data was processed, when it started, when it was finished. We try to do it as quick as possible. Which machine was responsible for it, because we made it so that you can also have a multi-server setup where a different server is responsible for processing the data records. And what you see is that the average data size of a raw page view is approximately 900 bytes, depends a bit on the client-side data that you're sending. But once it is processed, it only takes up 100 bytes. And what we see in uMarketingSuite.com, for example, we have around 600,000 page views, of which 55,000 were from visitors, the rest were from bots. And the processed data approximately is 96 megabytes. So you have a kind of a feeling how big your website will grow or your database will grow with uMarketingSuite collecting all this data. But again, you could outsource the uMarketingSuite data to a different database server, for example, if that would be required for your setup. We collected it in memory, stored it in the database, processed it in the database, and now we can do the fun stuff, reporting. Because we're using all the data to show the data in the uMarketingSuite within Umbraco. But what is way cooler is that you have access to the database, to the tables, of course, and to the APIs that we're providing. So you can do all kinds of crazy stuff that you want yourself. If you want to do some crazy AI stuff, you can do it. This is probably the biggest data lake you ever get access to directly from your website. And you're owning the data as well. So you can come up with all kinds of crazy dashboarding or other stuff. And it's important to grasp the concept of how we're storing the data and how the processing of the data is working, because that's the foundation of the uMarketingSuite. We have we have quite some configuration options. We have configuration by default, but you can tweak it according to your specific needs. And we all visualized it in the back office in Umbraco. So you see which settings are currently applied to your server. You can, for example, by default, it specifies the standard database connection, but you can also set it up to store the data in a different database. How long of when does the cookie that we set will expire, and what is the name of the cookie? By default, you will recognize uMarketingSuite in it, but if you want to obfuscate it, that's up to you. By default, we're anonymizing the IP address because of Gdpr, European regulation, because of privacy. But if you want to store the full IP address, it's up to you. You can install it with server-side tracking enabled, but you can also only use client-side tracking. For example, if your website is behind Cloudflare or anything like that. And here we have the flush rate in records or in seconds. How often do we flush the data from memory to the database, according on the performance that you need for your website. You can specify the number of days that the raw data is stored. Once it's processed, it's not used any longer, but for some purposes, we're storing it for a few days before we clean it up. And then you only have the process data left. And also, if you look at the data processing, we can specify how many records do you process per cycle, or in which interval in seconds. And what is cool, in my opinion, is that we also thought about anonymizing the data and deleting the data. So by default, we're anonymizing the data after 2 years. Then you know that somebody went to a specific page and scrolled to 80% of the page, but you cannot relate it any longer to the profile, because in our opinion, after 2 years, that's not necessary to store any longer. But if you think differently, you can set it to any interval that you want. And we even thought about deleting the data by default after 4 years. But if you want to delete your data after 1 year or after 100 years, you configure it, and the uMarketingSuite will take care of all the hard work. And here's, you also can specify whether this server is a processing server or that it should be distributed to another web server that you set up. I'm going quick, I guess, but we have not that much time. This is cool. You get this out of the box, A/B testing, personalization, analytics. But if you really want to bring it to the next level, you can do some work. And don't know how many persons played Super Nintendo or Super Mario on the Super Nintendo, but you could consider this as vanilla Umbraco, just Umbraco. If you went to Star World, you could consider that Umbraco and uMarketingSuite, unlocking a whole new world of functionality. If you really want to take it to the next level, the ingredients that you need are a creative marketer and a developer to bring it really to a next level. And if we look into personalization, one of my favorite features within the uMarketingSuite, there it's all about segmentation. You have a diverse visitor group, but you want to split that in different segments because you want to serve different functionality or content to different segments. And to do that, we've created a segment builder in the back office that any marketer can use. You have different parameters where you can segmentize your visitors upon. For example, if we click on a device type, you can specify, okay, I want to put everybody with a desktop or a mobile or a tablet into one group. And add a new parameter, more than 4 sessions. So every visitor with a desktop with more than 4 sessions, put them in a segment, and then adapt your content via the split view, via some coding, whatever you want. And we ship with some default segment parameters. We're adding new parameters every release, but the cool thing is that you can create your own segment parameters as well. And all you need for that is some C# code, some AngularJS, and optional, you can do something in the cockpit as well. Fully documented it over here. And the C# code is really easy to implement. And I shouldn't say easy too often, but I really think it's easy because you only need to implement an interface. Base segment rule for simple segment parameters or I segment rule for more advanced options. And there's really one important function in there is satisfied. And that returns a Boolean, true or false, for that visitor page your session. And you can do whatever you want within that call. So you can create all kinds of cool segment parameters. For example, day of week. With the AngularJS, you have to put in an icon and a name and a form field. But most of this is already taken care of within the uMarketingSuite. You could create new parameters for referral websites. When somebody comes from this website to my website, I want to show this or that, or put this conversion on top, or show them this form. You can track if somebody started a form or completed a form and put them in a segment, or maybe do it upon the member value that you're having. But you could also create, is this person already a customer of us? For example, in my HubSpot or Zoho CRM implementation, if that, I want to put them in this segment, show them different content, different templates, different options. is this person already subscribed to my newsletter? Maybe not show them, oh, subscribe to our newsletter, but different conversion form. When the sun shines, I want this or that. Make a connection with some kind of weather API. Or with web shops, of course. If a visitor has purchased more than X or Y, then I want to do this or that. Apply discount, show them different options. The sky is the limit, in my opinion. You can really easy import this data from external systems. It can be done via segment parameters. I just show you. You can extend profiles. I will show some profiles in a few slides, but also via custom code like you're used to in vanilla Umbraco. And the linking can be done, for example, with the uMarketingSuite cookie ID or an email address. And you can import it from every system that you want straight into the uMarketingSuite. And also the other way around. You can use the data in the uMarketingSuite and export it to any of these systems. Data that you capture, for example, which persona does our algorithm assume, send it to HubSpot or our Zoho CRM and reuse it from there. And that's already possible at this moment, but if we're gonna look into the future for a moment and really shake the snow globe and see what's happening. Right now we're on version 1.8 of the uMarketingSuite. Of course, the next version is gonna be called 1.9. We're releasing it around the 1st of May. And there we have profiles included as well as a new big thing. And after that, we will start on advanced developer extensibility, more personalization and more insights, especially related to goals, etc. And we're gonna start on building marketing automation. And the profiles will look like this, where you see how many profiles do we have on our website? What was the growth of the profiles? And which profile did we identify? Because they filled in a form, signed up as a member, stuff like that. And on each of these profiles, we can drill down. We can see their first session, their last activity, total session, engaged time, which goals did they achieve, what does our algorithm assume about the persona or the customer journey phase they are in, and drill down on all their activity. Which session did they have? When did they visit it? Which pages did they visit? Where did they came from? How deep did they scroll? Did they reach their goal? Out of the box. And the cool thing is, if you've installed the uMarketingSuite, and I know for sure that some of you already have it running on your website, and you're using 1.7.3 or higher, 1.8 is the current release, and in your URL you put it /Umbraco/uMarketingSuite/profiles, you will have direct access to what I just showed you. We're testing it now on our own live websites, but you can use it already. And the cool thing is, if you already installed the uMarketingSuite more than a year ago when we released it, we've collected all the data. Now it's visualized all the data of all those profiles from a year back. It's really cool if you have it up and running. Sneak preview of what is coming. Important is, of course, the .NET Core roadmap. And our statement is that as soon as Umbraco releases Umbraco 9, we will put much effort on migrating our package or upgrading it to .NET Core. We are in regular contact with Umbraco HQ, and they are really helpful to make it as easy as possible for us. But we're aiming to have a package or the uMarketingSuite package available once Umbraco 9.2 is released. I think that is what we can promise. But the next big thing, because yeah, maybe this is enough for you, but we want to take it to the next level. We want to include marketing automation into it. We have all the ingredients ready, and we want to make it available out of the box. It should be easy to use. Again, a no-code solution, unless you want to code and do crazy stuff. And you can start within 15 minutes after install. It should be really easy to set up. Our plan is first to create groups of Umbraco members, again by segmentizing the members, implement mail functionality, We already have an open source package out there called Perplex Mail. We're going to use some inspiration for that. Now we're going to create scheduling and creation of flows based on events, because that is what marketing automation in the end is. So what can you do? Because we need you. First, you should come up with crazy ideas and stuff. Can I do this? Can I do that? Reach out to us. Let's have a discussion. And probably the answer is yes, but we can guide you how to do it. We did a lot of work already. You can do the next stuff. 2, start using the uMarketingSuite if you're not using it already. Open up your package manager console, install -package uMarketingSuite, and I promise you, you have it up and running within 10 or 15 minutes, depending on the speed of Visual Studio today. 3rd, sign up as a uMarketingSuite partner, because then you have direct access to the team, discuss all your crazy ideas, get help. Also get access to unlimited free demo licenses that you can install on your favorite websites for your clients to demo to them the power of the uMarketingSuite. And you get discounts, because everybody loves discounts. And it's only $1,200 per year to become a partner. And in that case, you can join the future. Because in 2 weeks now, we've released it 1 year ago, and we have our first anniversary. And that should be celebrated. Finally, you can also sign up for training. We're developing it right now. We have 5 sets of training aimed at the end user, the marketer, for example, aimed at the developer, but also really cool courses about or trainings about personalization, how to get started, not only with the uMarketingSuite, but from a strategic point of view, and how to implement it in an advanced way. We're building the templates now in our website, but for now, you can already reach out if you want more information via info@uMarketingSuite.com. We've got it all documented, and we're extending the documentation each and every month with new videos and new text and new screenshots and new stuff. You can find it on documentation.uMarketingSuite.com and on YouTube. If you have any questions, you can always email me, but I really love our.umbraco.com, because if you put your question over there, the rest of the world gains some knowledge as well. We can directly answer it to there and have the great discussions out in the open. So I really recommend using our.umbraco.com. But you can also reach out on Twitter to me or via email. And with that said, I'm exactly in 30 minutes. Stop the time.
You've actually got 1.5 whole minutes left. That was really great, Jeffrey. Thank you so much. There was one question out there from Benjamin about if you're using a CDN, does that mean that your statistics may be off some? I forget which part of the presentation that was at. It was probably back towards early to middle. But there were some concerns raised about how stats may get skewed if you're using a content delivery network.
Yes, then you should definitely use the client-side script. You have an additional client-side script for recording that, like you do with Google Analytics, for example, because the JavaScript is rendered. We send the data to the server, and it's all about the collection step. That is different when you're behind the CDN, but the processing and the reporting stuff is all the same.
Okay, so last question from Arnold. So for your idea of when uMarketingSuite is targeting their launch of version for Umbraco 9, Umbraco 9.2 will release will be 12 weeks after 9.0. That's from Arnold Visser, Umbraco HQ.
Yes.
I'm not sure if that's a question or a statement, Arnold.
No, I think he wants to help code so we can speed it up and release it at 9.1. We're really aiming at that, but now we're spending time on features. And hopefully we can migrate in 6 weeks and get some help from HQ as well. But fingers crossed that maybe we won't make 9.1 and maybe we were gonna make 9.2. But all the help that he can give is good for us.
All right. Thank you so much, Jeffrey. Really great, especially how you guys are out ahead of privacy, which is super important.
Thanks, man.
Thanks,
Have a
everyone.
great session.
Back to the main room.